The system unit is the part of the computer which is responsible for accepting and processing the data brought by the input devices. It also responsible for passing the resulting information to the users via the output devices. Components of the system unit. The main circuit board is the central nervous system of the computer or the heart of the computer. All the most important components are either mounted on it or connected to it. Also known as the motherboard, and contains a number of electronic components that are essential in the processing and storage operations in some routing and control operations. Port is an outlet that connects any devices to the system board, motherboard. It is a connection from the main circuit board to a peripheral device such as a keyboard, mouse, a printer, or a video monitor. Expansion slots are the plug-in strips in the main circuit boards. They are used to connect expansion cards to the main circuit boards. Example: audio, TV tuner, and networking. The bus is responsible for transporting electronic signals from place to place on specific routes. Is an electronic pathway between various computer components. Central processing unit. It is an integrated circuit chip containing the electronic circuitry that controls the interpretation and execution of instructions. Computer memory is the general term used to describe where the computer holds data and instruction before and after they are processed. Its job is to store instruction and data in the computer. Think of computer memory this way: you are going to learn basketball. ROM is like a rule book that explains the game. On the other hand, RAM is a play-by-play description of the game you are playing. Memory are classified into two basic classification: read-only memory, ROM; random access memory, RAM. Read-only memory, where permanent instruction are stored. ROM holds the startup instructions, sometimes called a bootstrap routine, that begin when the computer is turned on. Check the amount of RAM. Establish the connections with the video controller and monitor. Ensure that external connections such as keyboard or printer are operational. Load the operating system. Non-volatile memory, which means that it is specifically designed to store data even the computer is not running. Random access memory, where data and instructions are temporarily stored. Is read and write memory. RAM works with the CPU to read or get data from a source such as a keyboard. RAM and CPU also works together in transferring data to other output devices. Also called a volatile memory, losing data when power is off. Cache memory. The cache is a place to keep something safe. Store of things is kept hidden. Is a special set of very fast RAM chips used to store data that the CPU most frequently receives from RAM. These chips are called static RAM. They are directly connected to the CPU. Basic computer parts. Hardware and software are mutually dependent on each other. Both of them must work together to make a computer produce a useful output. Computer hardware is the collection of physical elements that constitutes a computer system. Computer hardware is the physical parts or components of a computer, such as the monitor, mouse, keyboard, computer data storage, hard disk drive, graphic cards, sound cards, memory, motherboard, and so on. A computer software is a collection of instructions that tell a computer how to work. This is in contrast to hardware, from which the system is built and actually performs the work. Firmware combines hardware and software into important chips inside the computer. It is called firmware because it is a chip which is hardware built into the chip. Example: basic input-output system. A motherboard, also known as the mainboard, system board, a printed circuit board, PCB, found in computers. External connectivity are connected to a computer using cables and ports. Ports are slots on the motherboard into which a cable of external device is plugged in. Male ports have metal pins that protrude from the connector. A male port requires a cable with a female connector. Female ports have holes in the connector into which the male cable pins are inserted. Many connectors on integrated motherboards are either D-shell connectors or DIN connectors. D-shell connector have more pins or holes on top than on the bottom, so a cable connected to the D-shell connector can only be inserted in one direction and not accidentally flipped upside down. Example: parallel, serial, and video ports. DIN connector, Deutsches Institut Norman, is round with small holes and is normally keyed. Example: older keyboard and mouse connector. Video port is used to connect a monitor. The 15-pin female connector is used to attach VGA monitor. The newer port is called a digital visual interface port. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. A USB port allows up to 127 devices to transmit at speeds up to 5 Gbps, 5 billion bits per second, with version 3.0. Compared these speeds to parallel port transfer of 1 Mbps or 1 million bits per second. Devices that can connect to the USB port include printers, scanners, mice, keyboards, joysticks, CD drives and DVD drives, cameras, modems, speakers, telephones and video phones. USB ports and devices come in 3 versions. Version 1.0 supported speed of 1.5 Mbps. Version 2.0 increased the supported speed to 480 Mbps. Version 3.0 supports speeds up to 5 Gbps. A plus sign identifies version 2.0 port. Version 3.0 is sometimes referred to as super speed USB. Parallel port is a 25-pin female D-shell connector used to connect a printer to the computer. Parallel ports transfer 8 bits of data at a time to the printer or any other parallel device connected to the parallel port. Parallel port A are becoming obsolete due to USB ports. Serial port can be a 9-pin male connector or a 25-pin male D-shell connector, on very old computer. Serial ports are used for a variety of devices including mice, external modems, printers, and digital cameras. Mouse and keyboard ports have traditionally been 6-pin mini DIN connectors, but some computer manufacturers are using USB ports to connect the mice and keyboards. The mini DIN, sometimes called a PS2 port. Sound card port converts digital computer signal to sound and sound to digital computer signals. A sound card, sometimes called an audio card, and can be integrated into the motherboard or an adapter that contains several ports. Network ports are used to connect a computer to other computers, including a network server.